Just saw a headline that the DNA from the glove in the Nancy Guthrie case didn't match federal databases, so let's talk about what that means. It sounds like it's the final answer, but it's not. There are actually two very different DNA systems operating in the United States, and they function in completely different ways. I talk a lot about genetics, ancestry, and the pattern history leaves in our bodies. If you love learning about that kind of thing, follow along with me. What does federal databases actually mean? Most people are thinking of something called CODIS. CODIS is the FBA's DNA system. It uses STR markers. Think of them basically like genetic footprints. It's built mostly from DNA profiles of convicted offenders and, in many cases, arrestees. CODIS is a fingerprinting tool. It's not a cousin finding tool. So when DNA doesn't match in CODIS, that means there's no direct identity match in that system. But that doesn't mean there are no investigative options left. There's also another pathway called investigative genetic genealogy. So instead of looking for the person, it looks for their relatives, which is so cool. In certain cases, crime scene DNA can be converted into SNP format, same type of data used in consumer ancestry testing, and uploaded to public genealogy databases that allow law enforcement access. One of those platforms is GEDmatch. It's not a testing company, it's actually an upload site. People download their raw DNA data and upload it voluntarily. And you have to explicitly opt in if you want your kit to be available for law enforcement matching. And just to be explicitly clear, uploading your DNA to a site like GEDmatch does not mean you're handing over your entire genetic code in some readable, searchable way. You are not giving it to the government. What is visible and what law enforcement can use in those systems is match information, basically shared DNA segments and estimated relationships. It shows how much DNA you share with someone and how closely you're related. It's about overlap, and I really think that distinction matters, so I wanted to call it out. Here's where it gets interesting. Law enforcement doesn't need a sibling match to narrow a suspect pool. A third cousin can be enough to start building a family tree. And once you find multiple matches descending from the same ancestral couple, the number of possibilities narrows quickly. Probably wondering what the ethical concerns are here, and there are plenty. When you upload your DNA, you're consenting for yourself, but your DNA connects you to a network of relatives who didn't necessarily make the same choice. There are real privacy concerns here. Genetic data is permanent. And at the same time, there are families who have found resolution by being able to identify unidentified remains or have decades-old cases solved because someone chose to upload their DNA and share it. Both of those realities exist at the same time. I am not here to tell you what to do. Doing nothing is a very valid choice. So what can we learn from all of this? When you hear there's no match in a federal database, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a dead end or there are no leads. It does mean that one specific system didn't produce a result. But the cool thing is, in 2026, DNA doesn't live in just one place. It lives in layers. And whether those layers work depends on who chooses to participate. I would love to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments.